Okay, a transformation that uses a scale factor, that's your dilation. Dilation where the image is larger than the pre-image, this is your old one. So if the image is larger, that's an enlargement. Same size, same shape, congruent. The image is smaller than the pre-image, that's reduction. And the ratio is your scale factor. That's your new over your old. And those were worth 4 points for each answer. Okay, this one, we are enlarging it by 150%. So we need to change that to a decimal, so that's 1.5. The only coordinates we care about are t, so we're going to take this and do 12 times 1.5 and 4 times 1.5. So 18 and 6. So t prime is 18, 6. Okay, this one tells us that the triangles are similar. Oops. There we go, similar. So that means we just need to find our corresponding parts and put them in our chart. So I see that this side here is corresponding with this side, and this one corresponds with this one. So you just do your one chart. There we go. So we're going to compare this solid line to this squiggly line. So I have 5 over x equals 3 over 6. So there's several ways we can look at this. We can say, well, 3 times 2 is 6, so 5 times 2 is 10, so x equals 10. Or you could do the cross multiply, so you have 5x equals 3 over 6. So you do 5 times 6 is 30, and x times 3 is 3x. So divide by 3, and you get x equals 10. So your correct answer is A. This one you really need to read carefully. We have two rectangles A, B, C, D, and it's dilated by a scale factor of 3/4. So since 3/4 is less than 1, we know that we have a reduction, so it's going to be smaller. But you need to read the answer choices carefully. Okay? So if we look at our answer choices, we know that J is not correct because it says that they are the same. Okay? And that's what congruent means. So it's between G and F. So let's draw a picture and make sure we get this the right way. So I have A, B, C, D. I am multiplying by a scale factor of 3/4, which is going to give me a smaller rectangle, A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Okay, G says that A, B, C, D, this one, this is larger. This one, H, says that this one is smaller. So the answer is actually G, since we're talking about the original being larger than the dilation, because the dilation is smaller since 3/4 is less than 1. So you need to make sure you read carefully. Okay, this one, Melanie's dilating triangle ABC to DEF. So going from ABC to DEF, the coordinates of ABC, and it gives you those 3 coordinates and the coordinates of the dilated figure. Okay, Alice says the figures are not similar. So if Alice says they're not similar, Melanie's saying that they are similar. Okay, so if I look at those points, I'm going to write them this way. A is 0, 8. and its corresponding point D is 0, 4. So I can see that my scale factor here is new over old, 4 over 8, which is 1/2. So I'm going to check out my other points. B, which is 5, negative 2, and its corresponding part, or point rather, is E. So if my scale factor is 1/2, that means E should be 5 divided by 2, or 5 times 1/2, which is 2.5. And negative 2 times 1/2 would be negative 1. But when I look here, my E is 3, negative 1. So these are not similar, so Alice is correct. So let's look at our answer choices and see which answer choice says that. Okay, so Melanie's not correct, so we can get rid of A and C. Okay, Alice is correct because point B was not dilated correctly. Well, this is what we figured out it should be, so B is the correct answer. So let's just see what D says. D says Alice is correct because point B should be 10, negative 4. That would be if we had a scale factor of 2, not 1/2. So you need to make sure you're paying attention to which is the new and which is the old so you can get the right ordered pair. Okay, now this TCARE 8.3c is just about the algebraic representation. So before we start, you have to, when you do the algebraic representation, it has to be x, comma, y, arrow before you get to your rule. So we're talking about which algebraic representation we get rid of anything that doesn't start x, y, which actually gets rid of a, b, and c, and this leaves us with d. D is correct if I look at J, K, and L, and I have K, information about K prime. So K is 7, negative 1, and K prime is 21, negative 3. I can see I multiply by 3 to get these new coordinates. So it's 3x, 3y. Okay, number 11 tells us that I have a scale factor of 5. All of these do start xy, so I'm just looking for the one that gives me 5x, comma, 5y, which is B. Done. Okay, number 12, same thing. It tells me my scale factor is 1/3. Again, I have to start x, comma, y, and then I need to find the one that's 1/3 x, 1/3 y. Okay, so F doesn't start xy, G doesn't start xy, I can get rid of those. And then I see that it's H because I have 1/3 right there in front of both the x and the y. Okay, so for number 13, we really have to pay attention to which one is the dilated one. So remember, your dilated ones are the primes, okay? So I went from KLM to K prime, L prime, M prime, so I can see that I did in fact get bigger. So I'm looking for an enlargement. So I'm looking for a scale factor greater than 1. And again, these are wrong. They don't start x, comma, y, arrow. So it's between h and j. So in this case, I have one that's greater than 1, 3/2, and one that's less than 1, 2/3. So I know it's going to be h. If you don't have the two that are one's bigger and one is smaller, then you do need to go look at your ordered pair. So let's look at those. The ordered pair for K is 2, 2. And the ordered pair for K prime, its corresponding point is 3, 3. So again, to do new over old, I have 3 over 2, which is right there. Okay, this next TEAC is all about your effects of scale factor for perimeter and area. And a lot of these questions we're going to be able to solve if we draw a picture. So for number 14, a scale factor of 2 was applied to rectangle A to create similar rectangle B. So A is my old, B is my new. So I'm going to draw rectangle A, and I'm using a scale factor of 2 to get rectangle B, so that means B is going to be bigger. And it tells me the perimeter of B is 56 inches. And I have to figure out what A was. Okay, so in order to get A, I'm going to need to divide 56 by 2. I had some number multiplied by 2 gave me 56. Remember that perimeter, the new perimeter, is equal to the old perimeter times the scale factor. I don't have to do anything to that scale factor, which means A had to have been 28. Okay, can't be the same, can't be bigger, so at least you have those two to choose from. So 56 divided now by 2, since I'm going this way, or multiplied by a half, is going to give me 28. So C is your correct answer. 15 talks about rectangular playrooms. And again, I'm going to draw a picture so I can see what's going on. So I have a rectangle that measures 12 by 15. During a home remodeling project, it's enlarged. So we have each dimension doubled. So that means my scale factor was doubled. That's multiplied by 2. And I'm looking for the area. Okay, so the easiest thing I think to do is to just draw another rectangle. You're enlarging it, you're doubling it. So now my dimensions are 24 by 30. 12 times 2 and 15 times 2. Well, since I'm looking for area, I know area is length times width. So I'm going to multiply 24 times 30, and that is going to give me 720 feet squared. There you go. The other way you can look at it is to figure out your area, this area 12 times 15, figure out the area of this rectangle by multiplying 12 times 15, which will give me 180 square feet. And then if my scale factor is 2, since I'm doing area, I need to multiply by the scale factor squared. So I could take the 180, multiply it by 2 squared, which is going to give me 180 times 4, which of course also gives me 720. Okay, so either way you want to think about it. Sometimes it's easier just to draw a picture, scale up your rectangle, and then refigure out your area. Number 16. Jake's plan is to change the dimensions of his garden by a factor of 4/5. So K is 4/5. And when I look at my answer choices, I see we're talking about area. Okay, so I know that to do area, I would need to multiply by the scale factor squared. So basically this question is just asking you, what is 4/5 squared? So in your calculator, you do 4/5 times 4/5, or 4 squared over 5 squared, and you will get 16 over 25. So the correct answer is C. Okay, 17 is asking you the correct method to find, again, area, and of a scale factor of 1/2. Okay, it doesn't tell me what area I'm starting with, but I know that to find the area, I'm going to have to multiply by the scale factor squared. So I need to find the one that has a number times 1/2 squared, which is letter C. Okay, and then finally, 18 asks if I have some scale factor x. Okay, and I'm doing perimeter. So I know that the perimeter, I just multiply by the scale factor. Okay, so the perimeter is not going to be the same, not unless that scale factor is 1, which it's not going to be. So I need to figure out if it's going to change by x, 2x, or x squared. So instead of x, let's make it k, since that's what a scale factor is. So if I say the scale factor is k, then I think it will be easier for you to see. I just need k, not 2k, not k squared. So B would be your correct answer.